The future's coming, the future's coming. I wonder what it's going to bring. What do you think? Hi there, Neil here, the Twisted Light Worker. Where are we going to take our future? It's in our hands, you know. It's up to us. If there's one thing that the last few years have shown us, is that collectively we have a lot of work to do to make this planet into being a Garden of Eden, which is 100% what it is potential of being. 100% what its potential of being. And it's up to you and I to do it. The Great Reset. What is the Great Reset? Let's look at it from the New World Order way of looking at it. They want to eliminate half of the population, take it back so that it's a controllable number and they can put their thumb over top of us and be in control. However, the Great Awakening is all about turning that around on them, flipping it right side up, because it's been upside down for too many centuries. Literally, too many centuries. How did it get that way anyways? Well, we're going to cover that in this talk. But let's take a look of what the reset's going to be. And it doesn't matter if it's the Great Reset of the New World Order or ours. We're going to go back to zero. But in ours, making the world a heaven on earth, we have to stop making such a big deal out of manufacturing things, and we have to start making a big deal about building character. Build a new man from the inside out, no longer running from who we are on the inside. We can learn to love life and love living by realizing the most important goals anyone can have is to be happy now, to be healthy now, and to gather your friends and loved ones around you, and really, really enjoy the journey. That's why we are here. Creative source, brilliant plan when you really look at it. The world is unfathomable. It's so brilliant. The trees breathe out oxygen. We breathe it in. We breathe out carbon dioxide. The trees breathe that in. We have a symbiotic relationship with absolutely everything on the planet. It is a brilliant plan. Brilliant. And we take it for granted. That's one of the things that the Great Awakening is causing us to do, is to take a look around us. We've been isolated from each other, and we've been forced to look around us. And what do we see? We're seeing an amazing, beautiful planet that we have missed looking at. We've had our head buried in the sand and created all kinds of things that we didn't really need. And we allowed things to be created behind our backs because our heads was in the sand. We were so focused on our own little world that we couldn't even see past the end of our nose. Our head was so buried into the sand. That's how we allowed evil to exist. You see, evil exists only because humanity has a vested interest in its existence. Evil is a creation of the group mind, fostered by the misinterpretation of mythology through dogmatic and inquisitional approach to such things. It is the job of the individual to remove their placement in the vested field of the necessity of evil. As you do, you will discover a deeper dreaming of how you, through your willed effort, actually created the evil that follows you, because it is your child that seeks its parent. Your child that seeks its parent. Now that is the Toltec way of seeing what evil is. And take and study that in depth. It really means that the psychotic people who have evil intentions and evil actions in their heads, and they create those things, we allowed it. We allowed it all with our willful ignorance and unwillingness to actually acknowledge that the weeds in the Garden of Eden were there. The evil was there and we allowed it to continue. So whose fault is it that it got like this? But that's the good thing. That is the good thing. Who is responsible for cleaning it up? We are. We are the ones that we've been looking for. We are the ones we've been waiting for. That's what the whole Great Awakening is all about. Stepping into our own power and realizing that we are the plan. Trust ourselves. Trust ourselves. Trust ourselves. You see, we are all right and wrong about everything. That is the truth of the delusion of the dream of the world. We don't see it. We don't see enough. We don't take it to the extreme. We don't take things out of the confines of the dream of the world and into the dream of the planet and see it there. In the dream of the planet, it is not one-dimensional. There are many dreaming scenarios associated with it on many levels. Follow those dreaming scenarios to the source, and you may find yourself in the conclusion. You may find yourself in the conclusion. Now that, once again, is ℚ𝓚𝓚𝓚𝓚𝓚. In the 45 years that I've studied Toltec and metaphysics, I see there's such an overlap in philosophy and understanding, because it all boils back down to energy, frequency, and vibration. Toltec sees it one way, and the metaphysics see it the other way, but it's both seeing the same mountain from different vantage points. It's amazing. So we are all right and wrong about everything. In the dream of the world, that's where the ego takes in. That's where we are focused on our own world, our own community at the most. And we're really only focused on the four walls where we live. We got our head buried in the sand. And we allowed the evil to grow and flourish around us because the psychotic ones, that was their vision of the world. And we didn't notice what was going on behind our back because we were too focused with our head in the sand, and the only thing that we could see was the sand between our nose and our eyes. We couldn't even see beyond the end of our nose. But in the dream of the planet, you see, that's where metaphysics comes in. Metaphysics is one big field of vibration, and our thoughts create the world that we live in. And how true that is, because see, that our thoughts are electrical impulses that go out from our minds, and they ripple out through the ether to the very ends of the universe. Very ends of the universe. So the universe is one big field of vibrations. And here you are, you're right there in the middle of that field of vibrations. It's crazy, but that's right where you are. But the funny part of it is, if you pay attention to what you're seeing, the field of the vibration is inside you as well, because it's all one big field of vibrations. I'm over here. But because we're all part of this one big field of vibrations, I'm part of it, you're part of it, it's part of you, it's part of me, then that's how we are united together as one. That's metaphysics, and it's all consciousness and the power of thought and the power of mind and the power of creation. You are responsible for creating your world. Sales and marketing and inspirational leaders have all said that. It's all what our thinking is about. But what they fail to teach is what the collective, all humanity, is thinking about, and that creates our world, be it hell on earth or heaven on earth. And we've allowed hell on earth to take over. We allowed the satanic forces to rule over us rather than us over them. And it's up to us to first see them and then pull the damn weeds out of the Garden of Gaia, out of the Garden of Eden, and make this earth heaven on earth. And we are the ones that can do that. So you see, we are all right and wrong about everything. That is the truth of the delusion of the dream of the world. We don't see enough. We don't take it to this extreme. We don't take things out of the confines of the dream of the world and into the dream of the planet and see it there. It's the dream of the planet. You see, the dream of the planet is not one-dimensional. There are many dreaming scenarios associated with it on many levels, and follow those dreaming scenarios to the source, and you may find yourself at the conclusion. Well, of course, if you're willing to actually look at the whole and realizing that you are part of the whole and the whole is part of you, of course you're going to find yourself. Of course you're going to find yourself. That's metaphysics. That's the true meaning of total awakening. To connect with that part of the divine that's inside each and every one of us. I've said it on so many videos. Every man and woman on the planet, from the North Pole to the South Pole, was created by the one invisible power. And we all have those aspects of Source within us. In fact, it's in every single cell of our body. Every single cell of your body doesn't do me any good. And every single cell of your body has that direct connection to Source itself. It knows what to do. It knows how to live and divide, and your body continues to go on. You don't have to be the one instructing it. It knows what to do. Now how? Where does that intelligence of consciousness come into play that makes that happen? You see, we are magical, mystical beings on a most brilliant planet, created out of sheer brilliance, the way things connect together. It's absolutely astounding and amazing. We are borrowed for a moment in time from the great spirit of the galactic dream by the dream of the planet, and dressed in its clothes as an emissary of the intent to heal a deep and wide rift between the dream of the planet and the dream of the world. Some get lost in that travail, while others like such a challenge. Once returned to the great spirit of the galactic dream, even after uncountable millennia, it'll seem only that you left for a moment. Those are powerful words. Those are really powerful words. We really are much more than a meat body. We are part of that whole collective consciousness. We are part of the Great Spirit. We are part of the birds and the trees and the pebbles on the beach. And they're part of us. There really is no separation when you look at the field of the universe. There is no separation. It's all one. And when we have the dream of the planet in mind, we become much more aware of that. So this great awakening is bringing us back to who? It's bringing it back to ourselves. And when we find ourselves, we find Source. And when we find Source, we find ourselves. What do you think Jesus meant when he made the quote in John 14:10-12? Yeah. He showed us the way. Who are the ones that are coming to do more? It could be you. It could be me. And it could be that little mischievous boy that's around the corner causing havoc in the neighborhood. Who are the ones coming to do more? You see, we are creatures of time, not only the past, but the now. But most prominently, we are creatures of the future and the eternal new. Few seers have talked about the eternal new. That is of time forging forth into the future, and the transcendent eternal new that the future beckons to. The future beckons to. The future is calling us forward, and it's up to us to create it with our thoughts and our actions, and it starts with our thoughts. And before we can actually think about what we're going to create, we have to learn to be observant of what's really going on around us. We have to get our head out of the sand and pay attention. That is what this great awakening has done. It's made us come face to face with ourselves, because we've allowed all the evil to take over the planet because of our unwillingness to be cognizant of its existence. And those few psychopaths that made it their reality, we allowed them to put the blinders on. But the blinders are coming off. We're now beginning to see. We see. So trust yourself. Trust yourself. See, people act at you with the expectation that you will react in a certain way. The warrior has done enough stalking maneuvers and controlled folly never to react according to expectation. Rather, act according to how you may not reinforce expectation. That transforms mere reaction into an act to awaken. That can be explained by how I handled things when I went into the store when the mask mandate was on. I never wore one. And I had customers that would come up to me in the stores more often than the owners or the managers and start to give me a lecture about wearing a mask. They'd come up to me and say, "You're not wearing a mask." And I looked at them dead in the eyes and I put on a whole bunch of animation and I said, "Oh, I'll tell you a secret." They said, "What?" "I'll tell you a secret." And they said, "What?" And I said, "I'm not wearing any underwear either. Did you want to see?" I blew their whole plan of ripping me apart right out the window. They didn't know how to approach it. See, what did I do? I did just exactly this. Rather, act according to how you may not reinforce expectation. They expected me to cower, and I made a game out of it. That caused them to ponder their own actions. And therefore they then would have to start questioning their own beliefs, wouldn't they? I broke their pattern of thinking. I broke their pattern of thinking. What's going to happen next? The test of the warrior is in the unconditional conditions of the jungle. The next stage of warriors will be in the workplace. This is another sort of jungle, much more complex than any other jungle. In mundane jobs of industry, corporations, and education. That's where transformation is needed, and when those jungles are transformed, the inhabitants may have enough lucidity to see through them. As this great awakening continues, we're going to be transforming every aspect of the way we have lived. When we eradicate evil off the planet, that's when we will begin to transform the little aspects of our lives. Businesses will have to change the way they do business, the way they treat their people, and the people will have to change their way they treat their employers. There's going to be a camaraderie take place. There's going to be a feeling of mutual respect happen, because once again, we're going to come back to that field of the universe where we realize that we have the dream of the planet in mind, and we want to bring this world into the Garden of Eden, which is possible, which is where we are going with this great awakening. That's where we are going in this great awakening. So what we have to do is we have to realize that we are already at the source of creation. There is no high end or low beginning. There is only how you assemble your existence where you are. It is best to do so with greater strategies. Life is for dreaming. Existence is a dream. To make it lucid, it can be strategic. What does that mean? To make it lucid. It goes right back to realizing that all of this is creation itself, the field of the universe. Nothing but vibrations, frequency, and motion. Energy, frequency, and vibration in motion, and our thoughts create the reality that we live in. And when we get to realize that, that means we bring ourselves right back to the source. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. How much fun is that? We've all heard 𝓚𝓷𝓽𝓻𝓸𝓭𝓾 is potentially coming. And quite frankly, I don't care if it's real or not. The ideology and the ideas behind 𝓚𝓷𝓽𝓻𝓸𝓭𝓾, whether they're going to be implemented or not, those are definitely strategies that we can create if we come together and put our hearts and our minds together, and together with each other, we can create heaven on earth. We can create the world of our dreams. And that, my friend, is what the future's all about. That is where we are going. And it's up to you, and it's up to me. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We're not waiting for some magical being to come from the sky. We're not waiting for some political leader to do it all for us. This whole awakening is all about bringing ourselves face to face with ourselves and playing our part and making good things happen. So the future, oh my God, does it ever look beautiful? It may take a generation or two, but mankind is going to learn to thrive. And I call that Thrivalism. I call that Thrivalism. Thrivalism. We will thrive and be happy. We will thrive and be happy. That is an orderly new world. That is an orderly new world, and that's where we're going. I hope these thoughts uplifted you a little bit, and my rambling and bouncing around with different quotes didn't throw you off. If it did, I encourage you to go back and go through it slower. Read each quote. Stop the video and pay attention to what the quote's really saying, and look deep. Look deep within yourself. And when you do, you'll start to touch on the power of who you are on the inside. And when you realize that, that's when you can realize that we are the ones that we've been waiting for. And oh my God, does the future ever look beautiful? Do we have some bumps to go through? Oh yeah. But we'll get there. The dream of the planet is now touching the hearts of more and more people. And we're getting our heads out of the sand so that we can see past the end of our nose. And we'll realize that we are the ones that we've been waiting for. The future looks bright. I thank you for taking the time to go through this video with me. If you like the content, I encourage you to share it, join my channel. And if you really like the content, you can buy me a coffee. The Buy Me the Coffee link's in below. Thank you to the many people who have bought me coffees. They bring a lot of light and joy to my life, just knowing that I touched you enough that you could buy me a coffee. That's, quite frankly, it's more important and more valuable to me than you know. So I wish for you, in closing, I wish for you peace profound. I wish for you peace profound.